Okay, Nick, I'm going to try and do just a short segment of showing you, um, in, we went over the uniqueness of my property and why I'm not just, gee, let's find somebody who wants to build an expensive house in Mount Washington here because Lord knows you can build a house here and get a lot of money for it, because that's not what my property is. And my property is a very unique, extremely unique piece with extremely unique value, which we went over a lot of. And you cannot fully appreciate that just talking about it or even looking at maps. You got to see what's going on here. So darn my tablet here in terms of its issues with that is, so you see it says Shanley Avenue. Um, then there's this sheer face, then there's a yellow house up there. That is a Furness address. So there are two houses on the hill part of Furness, and then a series of houses on the lower part of Furness. Those are Furness addresses. And according to Tim, the Furness used to go across to the museum, but it drops off at this, probably, because I can't stand in the sun and show you anything. But that is that street that is very steep that leads to that yellow house up there. That is Furness. I am standing on, we're looking at the sign for Highland Park. I'm never sure what this thing is showing you because it's so hard for me to look at the screen and watch where I'm going. This is Monte Vista becoming Marmion Way. So Monte Vista dead ends at Furness into the hill where that car is going. And then there's this little tiny jog called Shanley. So when you're looking at the plot maps, so there's Marmion Way, the 4800 East block of Marmion Way. That is Avenue 50 down there, main thoroughfare into Eagle Rock, and the section of Highland Park they call Nuevo York, artsy, really expensive, gentrified, and it's why part of the NPR series York and Fig, because of the gentrification of Highland Park. So I wanted to show you the things that are very complex about this old neighborhood, the historic building, and the complexities of housing here. And I'm going to try not to get distracted by a lot of the very very emotional sights, and try and stick with just telling you I'm walking by things and going, oh yeah, all right. So this is Shanley, and the reason I'm here is this little tiny access, this little tiny sidewalk is the only way to get, well actually she modified it after she bought it, but it's the only way to get to one of the Furness addresses. She modified so that you can pull up on Furness, and she's got a little carved out area. I'll show it a little bit better in context that, so you would not even know. So the access, this was originally built, there was a series of basically vacation cottages built here, little one-bedroom things, and then those got modified to be built out. But there was a fire that took out most of them years and years and years ago. And the few that remained, again, most of them were radically modified beyond that one-bedroom little shack that they were, vacation cottage kind of thing that they were designed to be. So now I'm on Marmion approaching. So that is native plants. Those are elderberries and black walnuts. There's a house that you can access there. So this is, I've never really been particularly interested in any of that housing, but I thought I'd show it. So right, it starts becoming a little bit more normal kind of building a residential and flatland right beyond my land, except for the Mount Washington part. That, oh, I watched past it. This is the other access. I said, you cannot get, see, there's a little house up there. That white one is a rental, I know that. And that is a Furness address. And this is radically modified. It used to be the Rasta World headquarters, which is a whole story in and of itself, because the only way to access 238 Furness, which is the address of that, is it 238 or 232? I think that's 238 Furness, which was the Rastafarian World headquarters, where I would say, 200 people are up in what was a one-bedroom little cottage on a postage stamp size lot. There's no land around it. It's got hillside slope right up to the back of it. And they would have these parties just constantly, huge volumes of people. And the only way to get to that house you're looking at is this little easement, this sidewalk between this, let's see if we can find the address here. Yeah, it's 4853. So between 4853, and I can tell you the whole history on that one. I mean, the heir of the person who owned it is there and probably not going anywhere any too soon. This really ratty looking thing is the thing I said is going to be a tear down. I knew the people who lived here, the old people, so the son inherited it. The son moved in, somebody who, I think he was a homeless friend of his, and it's really deteriorated, but it was always bad. This one was even expanded out from, you see where the difference, where the wood changes there, from the shiplath or whatever they call it to the plywood. So that was the original size of house they were building here, which probably that sold, gosh, I know, I can't, in the sun. This is the one you can see on the internet, 4845 Marmion, that sold when they flipped it. The family that lived here for years and made life difficult for me because they were pretty noisy, and a lot of people. When they sold it, it flipped, and it sold for $680. I believe it was $680. So then we're back at my land. So what I realized that I hadn't shown what was on the other side, that so you go from the museum where there's nothing. You get one house, 4829 Marmion, then you get my vacant land, then you get this thing that just sold for a lot, and then you get this, falling down thing that they are just going to tear down and put up something, very expensive, I'm sure. And that would be an easy build. And then I wanted to show you, because we talked about what those plot maps are showing, the addresses that I found in the historic records when I originally bought the property. That I had maps that showed the addresses, undeveloped addresses and addresses. I don't know how much you can see, but the reason that my property is, you really want to find the right person if we're not going to keep it for what my vision was, which made sense. My vision for this area made a lot of sense, being an Indian, being part of it, making it about natives and making it a place like, you go to Koreatown expecting to find Koreans, you go to, the Southwest Museum of the American Indian neighborhood, you expect to find Indians. I mean, here I am. And hopefully inviting lots of others. But now I'm talking about finding the right person to blow it out. I mean, because that's what they're going to do here. They're just going to blow it out with buildings, and it's pointless for me to even try, because it's not going to be the vision I had. My property then becomes, because it might be something where you go, oh, okay, these undeveloped properties here that have these Furness addresses, we need those to be able to do something that's good building, for everybody in terms of shoring up the road. And so we shore up the road, and then we build on there, and we don't even touch the front. The front can be natural, the front can be native or whatever. I'm just saying that the right builder is going to say, gee, you know, Furness Avenue truncated off becomes the huge driveway because the two houses up on the hill have trouble even getting there. The cars have driven off the road and had to have the fire department come and get them, kind of thing. It's pretty dangerous. There's only two of them, and they're both on septic tank, but I mean, you need a way to get to them, and the only way is Furness, and it drops off, and it's in terrible shape. So then it just becomes a private drive. In other words, a huge driveway to, you know, my property and the undersized lots owned by the guy next to me that are undeveloped. They become the structure or the foundation for shoring up the street for everybody, providing a different access and safety, and also a pad then to build a wonderful house for people to live on. I mean, I kind of started going with the idea of why I'm invested now in finding the right buyer is because this is a pivotal piece. Once I sell it, there's a whole lot of people who can't do anything anymore. Whoever gets my piece affects a lot of houses around. And as much as, you know, it's kind of like I got to think of myself because nobody else is clearly in this city. They, you know, I mean, and yet there's still a part of me that says I can't be so narrow-minded and short-sighted to only care about what happens with me when it comes to what the use of the land is and who I hand it off to. I would like to make a responsible choice that benefits as many people as possible. That's the right thing to do. And for once, the right thing to do also includes doing the right thing for me, which is give me what the property truly is worth, and not appreciating the unique value of it. So, okay, I'm going to shut this off, do what I got to do, and get out of here.